बोलिए सद्गुरु महाराज जी की जय, सच्चे दरबार की जय. Today we present weekly satsang from Akhand Gyan from the monthly magazine of Divya Jyoti Jagrati Sansthan, and it is inspired by His Holiness Shri Ashutosh Maharaj Ji. This article is taken from August 2011. Today's topic is Three Essential Faiths All Should Adore. Living life at the physical level is not short of animalistic instinct. Such people live to eat. They are born, they grow, mate, and die. The karmic load of souls of such people is horribly bad, and they are consequently reduced to the lower order of species. Human birth, a rare gift of God, is squandered away in exchange of pennies. Care and concern for moving up in the cosmic order is not their cup of tea. There is another class of people who spend their lifetime in amazing health. They are completely materialistic in outlook. Money is their God, and comforts of life their religion. In the mad race of earning wealth, thought of the Creator and fundamental duty that we owe to Him just does not occur to them. Leading such life, they seem to nurture a feeling that they are powerful and possess strength. But this power and strength is short lived. It is transitory in nature. Indeed, we all should have strength, but instead of people of physical and financial strength only, the world in the present precarious circumstances also needs men and women of moral and spiritual strength. For the strength that emanates from adherence to moral and spiritual values has lasting effect. Amelioration of world from the worsening situation is possible only through morally and spiritually strong people. Our scriptures speak of this spiritual strength present within man. This inner strength presupposes existence of three essential faiths. They are faith in God, faith in self, faith in humanity. Man should essentially adore these three faiths. They are essential ingredients for a meaningful and purposeful life. Whatever be the advertisers, faith in God should remain firm like a rock. No untoward incident or circumstance should be able to make a dent on your faith in God. Faith in self implies faith in one's real self, the one beyond body mind complex, and not in an egotistical sense. One should also have faith in humanity. Think yourself to be a servant of God. Serving fellow beings is service of God. Believe in sharing and not in extracting and expoliating your fellow beings. Faith in humanity should encompass every human being on Mother Earth. Having grasped the basics of three essential faiths that all human beings should imbibe and adore, we now ponder over faith in God, vis-a-vis faith in oneself at length. Needless to say, the inculcation of third category of faith does not and will not pose any serious problem. It would be no exaggeration that faith in humanity is directly proportional and contingent upon the first two faiths, faith in God and faith in self. Faith in God. There are certain compelling reasons that make us think that divine power at some stage of our life. It can be our day-to-day experience of life accumulated over a period of time or something that happens without any forewarning. It can be some problem or uncertainties of life. Sometimes it is some favorite thing or person slipping out of one's hand, or when some well considered plans just go awry. All this makes us think of God, the superhuman power. This feeling gets so strong that we are forced to think of futility, of the humdrum of life. Thus starts our search for the highest reality. We start contemplating seriously about the invisible creator and sustainer of universe. A person on whom the thought of God has dawned is found to get introvert. A mechanical person turns into a thinking person. This is a definite beginning of one's spiritual life. But, however, it is not an end. A mere intellectual inquiry and contemplation on God and His ways is not enough. To develop an unflagging faith in Him, we must realize God through a genuine spiritual guide. There are two kinds of spiritual teachers in the world today. The first type of teachers teaches us the science of God and soul in a theoretical fashion, which is why the faith is easily shaken. They advocate the goody-goody kind of preachings and teachings. For them, it is a profession. They earn their bread and butter by doing so. The other type is that of a truly genuine teacher who teaches us the science of God and soul through experience. It is only when the science of God and soul is taught by revealing to one the cosmic vision, the transcendental form of God, that the faith in divine power and His redeeming power becomes unwavering. Here lies the crux of the matter. So long as the science of spirituality is taught in a theoretical fashion, to expect this kind of faith will be asking for too much. This nature gets ingrained in our heart when we learn the science of God and soul in a practical way, when we see and experience the divine light of God and soul within our body. Faith in self. Swami Vivekananda stressed upon faith in self, which will lead to faith in God, he said. He is an atheist who does not believe in self. The Swami thus went on to change the age-old definition that said that a person is an atheist if he does not believe in God. To quote his words, faith, faith, faith in ourselves, faith, faith in God. This is the secret of greatness. If you have faith in all the 33 crore of your mythological gods and goddesses, and in all the gods which foreigners have introduced into your midst, and still have no faith in yourself, there is no salvation for you. Have faith in your divine self within and stand upon that faith and be strong. That is what we need. A question is often asked whether faith in ourselves will make us egotistic. If this question persists in an aspirant, it may be safely presumed that one has so far not understood the essence of faith in oneself. A person who is sincere in his spiritual efforts will not think in this manner, for he knows faith in oneself means faith in the true divine nature. God is sitting pretty inside us as soul. The soul, though seemingly detached, but it is in reality an integral part of Paramatma, the Super Soul. There is unity in the outward duality. Faith in oneself is a supreme need. A person who does not have faith in oneself is weak and timid. He easily succumbs to the twists and turns of mind and the senses. The Upanishadic wisdom also says that weaklings cannot realize the Atma. Swami Vivekananda, time and again, spoke of strength. He often used to put one question to every man, woman, and child willing to undertake the spiritual path. The question was whether he or she is strong. Does he or she feel the strength? The Swami firmly held that this strength emanates from faith in oneself, and this faith in self can only arise when one practically sees the Atma within. This calls for Atma Bodh, seeing and experiencing the divine light within, the energizing force in all beings. Thus, when we experience Atma, we are filled with faith in self, which in turn gives us strength, and this strength leads us to our ultimate goal. So, it is the march upwards, towards the ultimate reality, which will make us strong, and none can reach the truth unless he or she is strong. Moreover, to have faith in God and self, we need to discipline our mind. For disciplining the mind, it is imperative that we concentrate on an entity that surpasses the little mind. something that transcends the mind. Lord Krishna spoke of hierarchy of human personality starting from the sense organs in the Bhagavad Gita in the following words. The subtle sense organs are said to be the superior to the gross body. The mind is superior to the sense organs. The intellect is superior to the mind. The self is superior to the intellect. Thus, the intellect is quite close to the self, but it is not exactly the same. It is a refined, higher mind. Intellect definitely helps in tapping the spiritual reserves latent in our real divine nature, but only when we experience the self. So, to train and discipline the mind, we need to meditate on all pervading, which is beyond body, mind, and intellect. Regarding training the mind, Lord Krishna propounds the same in the Bhagavad Gita. To discipline the mind, we need to concentrate on an entity that transcends it, thus identifying ourselves with the higher dimension of our being. Something different from the revolting mind is the first step in meeting the challenge of befriending and controlling the mind. The more we are able to grow this identity, the more developed becomes the intellect, buddhi. Thus, it can be concluded that faith in oneself and faith in God can only be attained by the realization of self. In other words, to ensure that these faiths are well entrenched, it calls for attainment of knowledge of self, Atmabodh, Brahmagyan, faith in humanity. After embracing and comprehending our relationship with God and self, faith in humanity is spontaneous because we realize that we are in a microcosm with the entire macrocosm within us. The same Atma permeates through all. We start believing in oneness. So, no further effort is needed for inculcating the faith in humanity once we have faith in self or God. This pious trait arises in us naturally. Mutual love, mutual trust, and mutual respect become natural concomitants. We then usher into a peaceful world. By imparting Brahmagyan, His Holiness Ashutosh Maharaj Ji has embarked upon this massive task for amelioration of society as a whole. We invite one and all to join us in making it a global movement to mold this world as a global family. With this, I am ending the words. To listen to more such articles, please subscribe to our monthly magazine, Akhand Gyan, available in 3 languages, Hindi, English and Punjabi. You can also subscribe to this monthly magazine by clicking on the link mentioned in the description box. बोलिए सद्गुरु महाराज जी की जय, सच्चे दरबार की जय।